Well, you probably don't know me, but
Let's start with the mic check, I guess.
but I want to start with a question. Have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you don't belong? Now, this could be many things, but anyone. Yeah, not belong. Well, it doesn't need to be that you've been excluded. It could be just one silly thing. Maybe you walk in the wrong class, it's over, it's not your class, so you don't belong. And I could tell that I have done that multiple times in my life, where I feel like I don't belong. And my story goes that I moved here 8 years ago as a young immigrant. Of course, I was nervous. I was also excited. Maybe I was also a bit naive, because I live in the belief that, well, I'm different, but maybe with enough effort, if I learn the jokes that young Finnish people tell, then I'll somehow fit in if I just put in the effort. And I lived in that belief for many years, and I still do believe that until to this day. But what many doesn't tell you is that it takes a lot of effort. It could be more treacherous than it could seem. And the thing is, like, no one is going to tell you how heavy it can be, that silence that you might feel if you don't actually see your goals happen as you have hoped. No one is going to give you a pressure line on how to navigate differences. But what I noticed as well in my experiences trying to fit in Finland is that it's not just my experience that's unique to me. It's not an experience that's unique to immigrants, but it's a human experience that we will all experience, not just immigrants. Now, I've said that I am of an immigrant background. I moved here. But when you read the news, you might see that immigration is always on the headline. It's such a controversial topic. Now, I don't care which way you lean politically, if you lean right, left, center, or you're politically confused, you can even be an anarchist, I really don't care. But whenever immigration comes in the headlines, there's always an inherent problem with it. It's not always good. There's something that doesn't work with it. Even if you lean in the way that maybe we need more immigration, there's something that doesn't work with it, that doesn't perfectly enough. And the problem here is something that's older than the current waves of immigration. It's about belonging. We as people are social beings, and we want to belong. But there's issues with trying to match with people, because we're inherently different. But we also try to find all the similarities that we could, so we could connect with someone. And this is the core question. Now, I want you to do a little test. So, look around. So, look to your left, look to your right. And just by observing, I want you to think of the differences that you have with the people to your left and to your right. And I will bet you there is at least one difference that you could see. It could be gender, it could be the way they style their hair, it could be their eye color, it could be anything. But I will bet you there's at least one difference. And those differences exist, and they already separated us to different groups. Because that's how society works. There's invisible lines that divide us, because no person could be perfectly the same. That's how it works. Society can be divided because we're inherently different. So suddenly we're divided into two distinct groups that one of us doesn't belong. Yet, that's the paradox of it. There can never be a perfect uniform group of people. And yet, every time we try, and that's also present in the immigration debate, we try to make people all the same. And that creates tension, because we try to look for the similarities, we try to make them uniform, but we're also full of differences. Now that can create conflict. And that can create tension that we all face every day. Now, for years, I tried to answer that question about belonging. It's like, could you really have a perfect way to belong if our differences limit us from that debate? And at first, when I arrived here, I tried even to mimic people, how they speak, how they wear clothes. I even learned the silent rules, like in Finland, if you're in a bus stop, then you're gonna put at least 2 meters between people because they're not so social. But then something changed. I started joining youth organizations because I wanted to find the people that I could match. Because my differences, I couldn't really disappear like that. Even if I try as much as I do to mimic people, I can't perfectly belong. And also, I went through high school during the COVID-19 pandemic. So most of my classes are online, so almost zero interactions. So I tried to join youth organizations for the last 4 years. Quite a lot as well. And then I ended up with one that I enjoyed, and I stayed with them for the last 3 years. And I'm currently international board. Now, it took effort from me and from both sides. But we must also recognize that not everyone gets this chance. I recognize that maybe some of it was from luck. But that is the journey of belonging. It could be long, it could be complicated, it could be maybe heartbreaking as well. And yeah, so it's not a smooth road. Now, I want to be honest, it's not just that society or the group that you're trying to belong that has issues. Of course, belonging will require effort from you, and only with effort could we try. Now, take it from me. I learned Finnish, I followed all the rules. I worked during my gap year, so I paid my taxes. And then for 8 years, I'm still an immigrant. So I decided last year, I was like, I want to be Finnish. So I applied for one. And I followed all the rules. And now I hold a document that says that I am a Finnish. That could be from Langasmo, but it took effort. I understood that if I wanted to be accepted, then I will have to put something on it. I have to prove that I have something to give, that the people require. So, no, I'm not saying that people should just let go of the effort and expect of other people to accept them. Of course, we have to tweak a bit and adjust to be accepted. Now, take something completely unrelated, because I want to show that belonging is not just a challenge that immigrants face. For example, dating or having a crush. I mean, everyone must have experienced having a crush once. And sometimes it's worse if you see them in school. We try to impress them. So you want them to notice you. So once you had a crush, then you might change the way you style your hair, the way you speak, the way you show yourself. And that's trying to be seen. But they don't have to like you back. And that is almost the situation all the time. So if you notice that they don't even notice you at all, or worse, that you're not supposed to exist at all, then you might move on. But now, put that in a position of someone who just moved to a country. You're not just trying to date one person, but you're trying to date a whole society. You're trying to make them notice you. But the thing is, it seems like you're just an invisible person that no one wants to look after. So that's the thing. We all experience this thing. It's not inherently an immigrant experience of trying to belong. And this is what many might miss about assimilation and trying to belong. Fitting in isn't about the desire to feel accepted in a group. It's about permission. It's about invitation by people. Because if the system or the culture or the country isn't open enough, then you can do everything right, but then still not feel accepted. I've seen it and I've lived it. Because most of the time, people will smile with their mouths, but judge with their eyes. They might have some preconceived bias about it. And this is a problem that many immigrants face. It could be in the form of racism, or just in the form that people just don't want to associate with. And this is very common as well in friend groups. You want to be in one friend group, but they don't vibe with you, so you feel left out. And that's the thing. With most immigrants trying to move into countries, they can't alone just dismantle centuries of bias that's been built by the people that live here for more. Now, this is the part that hurts the most for most immigrants. You can want to fit in with all your heart, but still your efforts are not enough. The gap between the desire to belong and the reality of it can break people, it could isolate them, it can exhaust them, it can make them question their worth. And that's why I say, with assimilation, it's not just a big ask, it's a very big hopeful ask that we ask of them. It's asking someone to keep walking into a room that they don't know if they're ever gonna get out, or if they'll ever be accepted. So, no, I'm not here to tell you to think differently of the immigration debate. Of course, that's your freedom. That's what politics is for. But I'm here to remind you that you too experience this process of trying to belong. You wonder if people like you. You wonder if you speak too weirdly, or if you have an accent, then you might worry if you're gonna be judged, or if you're good enough. We all have. So when someone is trying to belong, whether they're new to the country or to your friend group, remember that this feeling you have experienced all your life. And you don't have to agree with them, you don't even have to acknowledge them. Just don't add to the existing barriers that they're already trying to break down. Don't make it harder for them to fit in. Because fitting in isn't about being the same, it's making a space for difference. And today I can proudly say that I have chosen communities that I feel like I fit in. And here's the truth, as the paragraphs I've mentioned before, we will all never fit perfectly in a group. And that's okay. But we can build communities that make space for these differences, and we can stop expecting people to erase themselves just to be acceptable. We can choose to understand when it's uncomfortable. Because fitting in should never mean disappearing, and belonging in should never be just an effort from one side. Thank you.